All right. Good evening, everybody. Let me turn this off. So it is Friday, May 7th, 3:45 p.m. What's going on? I wanted to do a quick update on the markets so you guys know exactly what we should be looking at going into the weekend time. Of course, as Advantage members, I will keep y'all updated if I see anything moving in the markets that I personally want to get into. At present moment, I'm in no levered trades, but obviously you guys know very well, we're in a couple of spot altcoin trades. And, we're obviously looking to long BTC, right? If y'all remember, the general game plan was that in this area right here, okay, so let's start mapping that out. We were hoping that in this area, as we get more of a consolidation base being built, something like this, if we do get it, this would ideally be your potential long scenario that I'm hoping to build. We're sitting currently at the top of the resistance right here, at the top of the range. I don't know what exactly is happening here, but it looks like a whole lot of, very volatile chop. Even over the last several hours, if y'all notice, we had this pretty big candle that just got put in, took out the high from yesterday, or is it 2 days ago rather. So clearly sell pressure came in and now starting to really spike this candle down. The 4 hours down, almost looking like a gravestone doji right here. So potentially a reversal candle right off going into the Friday evening time, weekend time. You guys know very well, going into the weekends, I generally try to not take trades into the weekend. If I do, I try to make sure I'm hedged properly. So at present moment, because I don't have any levered trades, I don't really need to hedge anything. Maybe my altcoin portfolio, but I'm not too particularly concerned about that. But here's some things that are happening in the macro sphere that we had spoken about, the last couple of days. So for example, if y'all remember, not last week, like just a couple days ago, right? There are talks from Kaplan. He's one of the Fed chairs in Dallas. He said, they'd like to start discussing about, the Fed potentially tapering soon. And then Janet Yellen made those comments a couple days back. She says, rates may have to rise to stop the economy from overheating, right? So if y'all remember, when I made the video 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whenever this came out, I told you all that by the end of the week or next week, I would figure that there's going to be some news, some headlines dropping to counter this. And I made this video for Advantage members because I knew for the most part that there's no way in hell, first of all, that rates are going to rise. But I didn't want to, sound overly confident. It's just that it would just be very unwise for the Fed to do so, right? Because effectively raising interest rates would mean you're shooting yourself in the foot by trying to pay off the debt that the US already has, because the higher the interest rates, the more the balloon the payments are to be able to pay back the debt. So point is, with those interest rate conversations with the Fed Chair Kaplan talking about Fed tapering, well, guess what happened? Over the last 24 hours, we saw two things happen. Number one, non-pharma payrolls went from a pretty, I think there were expectations of like 300 or 400 or something. And then they came down to about 266,000. So why does this matter? And why does it matter for crypto? Well, first things first, to understand NFP, which is non-pharma payrolls, these are effectively the expectation of how good the job market is doing and how good are we adding jobs. So obviously we're not adding jobs that well because we sort of undermine the expectations. And on top of that, okay, we had Biden talking about, more help for the economy is needed. So these two things, number one, this and this put together from a macro perspective is a very good thing if you're in tech or growth. Why? Because what effectively Biden is saying is, hey guys, clearly it looks like the economy is not roaring back as we wanted to. Jay Powell is probably going to come in next week or the week after and say, well, we still need to make sure that the economy is in track of in line to keep performing better. We need to hit our inflation targets, whatever, right? So what this means effectively is they're saying, hey, we're going to keep printing. We're going to keep interest rates low, and we're going to keep printing and put our pedal to the metal in terms of printing money, rates low, and full on risk on mode. And so that's good for crypto because what they're effectively saying is, all right, guys, we got your back. Okay, that's effectively what Biden and the administration and the Fed have been doing for the last several months. So us in crypto get to benefit off that because crypto is a very high risk, high beta market. We benefit from the flows in the risk environment of how the interest rates, the Fed is going to do things going forward. So what I see in the market now from the crypto standpoint is, okay, well, we've had a pretty sharp drop here, big move up. This is, in my opinion, a potentially, failed head and shoulders pattern, right? So from a technical structure already, we're starting to show signs of deterioration that bears are unable to push this down. And number two, the macro things that we were looking for are now starting to rear their head. This is all the signs that you need to know that, okay, everything is back to normal. Maybe we may not get, huge selling or whatever. Again, unless this changes and the Fed really raises the interest rates or Biden says, all right, the economy's back on track and now we need to lift the pressure off the Fed and we're going to, stop the printing press, whatever. But until that happens, it seems like we're back on track for, again, the bull market, the bull phase. Okay. It has been insane to think that this is going to continue longer, but it looks like it is. And there's not really a whole lot we can do about it other than enjoy the party, which is the big alt season, crypto bull market party, which we've already sort of been dealing with for the last year. But now as we get into it, we know that this is likely going to continue, this risk on environment. So from my standpoint, what I see in BTC is it is, in my opinion, an obvious long in this area. Going into tomorrow, the day after, I will definitely start considering longs. You guys know already, I have spot BTC exposure, which I cut by like 50%, back here somewhere, right? Or somewhere back here. And I'm okay with that, right? But now for the next big leg up, I'm thinking, okay, I need to start going long in BTC. Alts, I already have a few positions in. I'll let y'all know whatever else I may, consider picking up. I already laid out a list for Advantage members of the 2017 altcoins that are starting to pick up steam, right? And we'll cover those in a minute here. But there's a big list of altcoins that you guys know very well that I pay attention to, right? These DeFi blue chips. Solana, Alpha, Aave, Sushi, all these ones in the DEX space, all these ones in the L1 ecosystem space. These are the big ones that are on my radar. Rune is a big one that I'm definitely paying attention to. AVAX, you guys know I'm very bullish on Matic as well. So these are the altcoins that we need to focus on going into the weekend next week. Now, I'm not particularly looking to go long right now because the way the market is positioned, I would figure that at some point, we have a decent amount of chop. Hopefully we have some nice flushes to the downside. And in those flushes, we need to find opportunities to go long. Again, I'm not telling anyone to go long. I'm just telling y'all, exactly what I'm thinking about doing. Okay. Are there any questions so far? Any questions? Okay. V says speculators raised net short US dollar bets to the largest since mid-March. Yeah, this is insane. Okay, so here's what he's talking about. So if we look at the dollar, all right, I discussed this in a video previously, like I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And I told y'all that when you're long US assets, when you're long, speculative assets, crypto, commodities, basically anything outside of the cash position, you're effectively short US dollar, right? So being short US dollar, which most of the investors across the board are, creates a huge potential for a squeeze, because what it does is if everyone is shorting here and everyone is net long all assets, whether it be crypto, whether it be stocks, whether it be commodities, whatever, right? So what is the potential risk? Well, here's the potential risk. When you start seeing the dollar start to, push up higher and higher, everything in the world basically will get squeezed out, meaning assets across the board will get flattened and the dollar will start to spike up higher. So what V is effectively saying is, hey, there is massive short interest across the board. And we know that. But the thing is, we know for the most part that the Fed is one of the biggest proponents of this short. Not directly, but indirectly, because again, they're printing money. They're basically telling you, hey, we got your back. Go ahead and take that risk. We'll put a floor to the market. We'll keep printing money. We'll keep interest rates low, right? So creates a very dangerous situation. But in my opinion, the directional bias to the market as a whole is that you probably want to stay short dollar or long assets, right? Long risk assets like crypto and stocks. Because at present moment, the Fed ain't budging from their narrative. It doesn't matter what we think is right or wrong. It's what is happening in the world. And we, as market participants, as traders, as investors, we react to things as they are, not as how they should be, not as what's morally right or wrong, what is happening. And what's happening right now is very clear that we are probably going to inflate this bubble even further and further. Stock market assets are probably going to go up further and further. In my opinion, crypto is probably going to be in the bull phase until things change otherwise in the macro market again. So all we have to focus on now is pretty simple. Focus on the long side, right? You guys know very well in the Vantage side, we have not really taken any longs since last October, which is again back here, which was a hedge anyway, right? So for the most part, we've effectively been long bias, directional bias in the market. There's really no reason why I see to go short, and I have not taken any shorts. Okay. I am now continuing to hold on to that bias and recognizing that, all right, well, everything that I need to see as a signal to go long, I'm getting it. I'm getting it from the Fed. I'm getting it from the administration, and I'm getting it from the market structure. Okay. So are we clear on just the overall bias in the market and exactly how we're perceiving things happening externally? Are we good on that front? Now, obviously, you can have your own, a thesis of what's happening. And if you don't want to go along with that, that's totally okay. Please feel free to do your thing. But this is just my thought process. So for me, I want to be long in BTC and I want to be long a couple of assets, right? Now, we've spoken about, obviously, Ethereum definitely being one. You guys know very well. I mean, many of us are either long BTC or directionally long BTC, or we hold some spot exposure, or people are just bullish in general in BTC by being bullish on, I don't know, some altcoins within the Ethereum ecosystem, right? There's many different ways to be long BTC, or I'm sorry, Ethereum. I don't know what I'm saying. Many different ways to be long Ethereum. Okay. So I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum. Now, Link is another one, which is technically your Oracle style protocol. Band is sort of, in that same boat, which is a Oracle style protocol. Both these, in my opinion, look pretty damn bullish too, right? Link right here, very, very nice movement to the upside, and Band right here, okay? Still in a range, but again, this to me, just like many other assets, is kind of like a failed maybe Head and Shoulders, right? Hopefully if this thing starts turning up, That's a failed head and shoulders to me. Okay. ADA, right? These are the 2017 altcoins. Again, as some of these altcoins come into resistance, if they do see a nice pullback over the next couple of days, you might get some very nice buying opportunities, especially if you're a big fan of ADA or these L1 ecosystem coins like Ethereum, Polkadot, Solana, Rune, all these. Okay. So at present moment, right, Cardano looks good, but it's heading into resistance and putting in this hanging man, doji candle. So nothing really here. But if you think that this is a good opportunity to go long, well, you should, also wait and see if you do get a pullback around this area to retest this as support. That's another potential opportunity to go long. Okay. Solana, you guys know very well. I'm a huge fan of Solana. It's gone up quite a bit over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but also putting in maybe like a pennant sideways consolidation. I'm expecting a consolidation for Solana, at least for another couple of days, maybe another week or two, because it went up really fast, really hard. And honestly, I think it's going to just go sideways for a little while. But point is, overall, right, this thing is still a very healthy looking trend. Very, very healthy looking trend. So if it's a healthy looking trend and you're looking for upside in this consolidation, you might get some very great buying opportunities, and focusing on the lows of the range right here between $40 to $43 or so, that might be your solid opportunity to potentially buy spot or go long. SRM, you guys know I'm a big fan of SRM and the Solana ecosystem coins. This one looks solid here too. I was initially thinking that we'd maybe ping into this area, but maybe that's not going to happen. Who knows? Maybe, the weekend volatility might shake out a lot of traders, wick into here, recover, and then we start pressing up. That might be your potential long opportunity there as well. Radium, kind of the same thing, right? Again, SRM is sort of the DEX in the Solana ecosystem, while Radium is the AMM, which is the automated market maker. So Radium actually has, a direct sort of integral play with Serum in that it helps facilitate the movement of market activity, okay, on the DEX itself. So all those orders that you see passing through, right, buying, selling, limit orders, buying and selling, Radium helps take care of that on the Serum DEX. Okay. Point is, with Radium right here, again, same with this area, $12.30, maybe a potential wick in here, fast recovery, and then I'd be looking for previous all-time high around $16 and quite possibly higher. Okay. Now, this is where we get into some very interesting dislocations in the market. So we know very well that Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin had been going up for God knows, how long, but it's gone up also tremendously, right? And so the thing is, it's very, very hard to talk about Dogecoin, all these coins going up rapidly without recognizing that, hey, something is really, really off in this market because all the 2017 garbage is going off, while most of the 2021 altcoins have been just calm for the last couple of weeks, right? But it doesn't matter, right? Again, the market does what it wants to do. All we have to focus on, if you're thinking about going long in Doge, is number one, you have to keep in mind tomorrow is the SNL event. You guys know very well that there is a saying that we have in markets: buy the rumor, sell the news, right? We know that there's a significant event that is probably going to have a lot of hopium or hype or whatever going into tomorrow, because Elon Musk is going to be on SNL, probably talking about Dogecoin, right? So that kind of hype will generate, I don't know what kind of interest, but what that'll do is, in that interest, you may have some big whales offloading their positions into the hands of retail, right? It's possible that maybe prices push higher, but generally the rule of thumb is you don't really want to be holding right into the event itself. Okay. So the point is, you want to be careful going into tomorrow, especially with Dogecoin. And would I short that going into tomorrow? Definitely not, because the people that buy Dogecoin, especially on Robinhood, honestly, they're just aping it. And the apes can stay irrational longer than you can remain solvent, right? You guys know that quote by Keynes. Keynes said, John Maynard Keynes, he stated that the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. And what he meant by that is things can be crazy for a while. Things can go up longer than you could think, and things can go down longer than you can think. But when they're going up, don't try to make sense of it, because you're not going to. Don't try to time the top. Don't try to short and fade the trend. You're just not going to do well, because you're just going to get absolutely steamrolled. So you just focus on the trend. Focus on what's happening, the trend. And when the trend as a whole for the entire crypto market shifts, whenever that happens, whether it's next week, next month, or next year, then we can short the market as a whole. But for now, we know the trend is strong, whether it's in Dogecoin, whether it's in other altcoins. We know for the most part that the market as a whole is still relatively bullish, right? So please be very careful of not shorting Dogecoin, because it just would not be wise, okay? Now, if you're thinking about going long in Doge, like I said, please be careful, but there are definitely opportunities, right? So for example, if you're thinking about going long and you're focusing on that, hey, will Dogecoin get to $1? Possible, yeah. So this is one trade that you can consider. So say you're aiming for $1, right? From here, $1, is way the heck up here. So that's almost a 60% move, right? So you enter here, maybe your stop's below this area, or if you want a deeper stop, you can keep it below this low. Right? So you're looking for 18% loss if you get stopped, but you're looking for an upside of 60%. That's a 3.18 risk to reward ratio. That's pretty good, right? Because if you're going long right now, effectively you'd be if you're thinking about, say, $100,000, you're looking to risk about $18,800 for a potential gain of almost $60,000. That's how you have to look at it, right? So at present moment, this is a pretty solid trade. But again, that's if you get anywhere close to $1. If this thing starts rolling over and your stop gets hit, then you should be prepared for that too. Okay, this is effectively how you guys know very well. This is how we, calculate trades and risk in the community, right? I'm not going to touch Doge, just FYI, but letting y'all know, where your potential opportunities lie. Okay. All right. Matic. Let me cover that real quick. So I'm still pretty bullish on Matic, and I'm not really fazed by this kind of price action. What I would like to see is, as long as we stay capped below 80 cents right here, I think we're probably going to head back towards, actually, where's my marker? There it is. Okay. I would say as long as we stay below 80 cents, chances are we're going to stay pinned between 74 and 80. So this little range right here. Okay. We're probably going to chop around this area for a little while. Once we get above 80, then we're going to probably head towards 85 up here. If we break 74, then we're probably going into 68, which we might even attack this low. Okay. So Matic to me is, if I get an opportunity right here, I might add to my spot, and I might also even go long, because I don't see any way that Matic, being such a unique platform with so many things going for it, is priced where it is compared to other garbage out there that's literally blowing up, right? Here's Matic, okay? It is at present moment a $4.6 billion market cap, okay? It's ranked 44. I can't believe it's not even in the top 40 or top 30 rather, right? With so much stuff out there that is complete vaporware, like VeChain or Ethereum Classic, Tron, Filecoin, EOS, Neo, Monero, all this stuff. I mean, most of it is just completely useless. But Matic is actually doing serious partnerships and serious volume along with other networks. So that to me is a clear opportunity that the market is not recognizing how useful Matic is, and it's completely undervalued. Okay. All right. What other questions do y'all have? Okay. So the other thing is, I do want to look at one more thing before I take on questions. 1 second. So we know that the market had been pushing up all these 2017 coins, right? We saw EOS put in massive moves over the last 2 or 3 days, put in a 31% move right here, a 37% move right here. ETC put in massive moves here as well. Over the last 5 or 6 days, ETC went from almost, what is it, $44 to almost a high of 175, right? So say basically from the beginning of May, right? So from right here all the way up, it went up 380% or so. Okay. That's insane. I mean, that's only 7 days and it went up that much, right? So the point is that, the fact that it's gone up so much, well, you have to pay attention to, wait a second, is there somewhat of a trend that maybe other altcoins are going to follow it from 2017? Things like Neo, things like TRX, which again, I don't really think a lot of these altcoins have a whole lot of, I don't know, fundamentals to back it up. But who am I to argue what the market is, deeming should go up, right? I'm just here to look at the market and see what's going up. And if it has good technicals, good risk reward, I want to long it. I'm going to make money off it. Okay. So at present moment, even TRX, it looks solid, right? Coming into a very, very nice SR level, right into this area. Okay. All it has to do is hold up above this 14, 15 cent marker. And in my opinion, I would say pretty high chance that goes towards previous all-time highs around 18 cents, or even towards, new all-time highs around 20, 25 cents and beyond. Okay. There's obviously other laggards, and I'll mention these to you guys later. But point is, if the market is dragging up these 2017 coins, you want to start focusing on the ones that are lagging. And I think TRX is definitely one of them. Okay. All right, let's take a look at CRV USDT. There's a question from Will in the chat. Let's do this. Okay, curve. All right, so I like curve too. Whole lot of chop, but I still see this thing as a very, very nice developing ascending triangle, right? Something like that. Ascending triangles are extremely bullish because what they're really doing is they're consolidating right near the resistance. And every time price gets knocked down, it puts in a higher low. So effectively, this is a whole lot of absorption every time you get sells, and a whole lot of breaking that resistance that's sell pressure in this area. So whenever we break out of this to the upside, a simple way to measure a potential target is, what is the depth of this triangle? So that, so you get a breakout right now, right? That 53% or so. Okay, put that up here. So a target could be about, 760, 775 up here. Okay, that's how you want to kind of measure that. But yeah, it looks solid. I mean, if I were to go long on curve, I keep my stop below here because you definitely should not be coming back down here. I would figure there's a pivot somewhere around in here. So let's see. Yeah, so it's right around here, right? So we're breaking through the pivot right now. Okay, the reason we use pivots is because it's easily identifiable SR levels, right? So hold up above the pivot, or if you get a retest at the pivot, you can also go long right there, right? Stop here, or if you want a deeper stop down here, and then you're effectively looking for, some of the big targets ahead. Previous highs around, I don't know, 550. This marker around $7. I wouldn't really count this wick right here. And then, of course, the 760, 775 marker that we had from the measured move. think that's pretty much it. I gave you a bunch of updates in the Bitcoin analysis channel right here. Altcoin analysis right here as well. Talk about TRX, ETH. What else? In the DeFi analysis channel, I mentioned a couple things, Cake, the Raise network, all kinds of cool stuff that we should be focusing on and you know, paying attention to going into the weekend time if y'all want to do some homework. Okay. And then of course, you know, the farming, staking, and lending channel that we opened a couple of weeks back, it's been doing a lot of, you know, good information, good input. So make sure you guys read that in case you are interested in the passive income strategies that some of our members have adopted. So all kinds of cool stuff. Okay. All right. That is pretty much it, folks. I'll keep up with y'all through the weekend. All right. Take care. Cheers and catch up soon.